Assalamualaikum. My name is Shafiana Kiba binti Suhaimi and my metric number is 088956.
Assalamualaikum. Hi, my name is Farah Diana binti Muhammad Rafi. My metric number is 088968.
Hi, my name is Nurfatini Reha binti Ahmad Hamidi. My metric is number 088900.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day. So my name is Fatma Al-Zahra binti Suhaimi. My matrix number is 088971. So today my group A9 will presenting the evaluating the validity of Qiyas in the modern cases, a study on the requirement of Ilah in Islamic jurisprudence.
I will begin this presentation with the executive summary, which says this study examines the role of Qiyas, which is analogical reasoning, in resolving modern issues not addressed in classical Islamic sources, such as cryptocurrency, AI, and biotechnology. Its validity depends on accurately identifying the Ilah, which is the effective cause. Classical scholars like Imam Al-Shafi'i and Imam Al-Ghazali set a strict criteria to ensure Qiyas aligns with Usul al-Fiqh and Maqasid al-Sharia. Today, differing applications of these criteria lead to a scholarly disagreement, as seen in debates on cryptocurrency. On top of that, this study concludes that Qiyas remains essential but must be applied carefully by integrating classical principles, modern expertise, and flex values, belief, intellectual reasoning, noble character, and professional ethics to ensure Islamic law stays relevant and adaptable.
Qiyas is a key method of istinbat al-hukm in Islam jurisprudence, especially for modern issues without a clear textual evidence. It enables Islamic law to respond to new biomedical, technological, and ethical challenges. The validity of Qiyas depends on identifying a sound of Ilah, which is an effective cause. Classical jurists, particularly Imam Al-Shafi'i, stress that an invalid Ilah weakens or nullifies Qiyas. Modern issues such as AI, digital finance, and new substances complicate the identification of Ilah. Scholarly disagreement over the appropriate Ilah reveal methodological challenges in applying classical usul al-fiqh today. This highlights the need to reassess whether contemporary application of Qiyas remain consistent with traditional principle. So let's move on to the objective. The first one, to explain the classical definition, characteristic, and requirement of Ilah according to major schools of thought. The second one, to analyze how these requirements are applied in selected modern cases, particularly in the current issues. And the last one is to assess the validity, strengths, and limitation of contemporary analogical reasoning in light of established Islamic legal theory. The next one, the research question. The first one, what are the essential criteria and requirements of valid Ilah in classical usul al-fiqh and how have they traditionally been applied? The second one, how do contemporary scholars apply the concept of Ilah through Qiyas to address modern issues such as cryptocurrency? And the last one, to what extent do different juristic approaches and interpretations affect the validity and the consistency of Qiyas in contemporary contexts? Our research is limited to the conceptual analysis of Ilah in Usul al-Fiqh and its application in modern issues without entering into intensive cooperative fiqh rulings. It does not attempt to issue new rulings but rather evaluates methodological coherence. This limitation ensures that the focus remains on jurisprudential principle rather than on fatwa practice.
So, the first slide is about Qiyas, Ilah, and cryptocurrency. For this literature review, scholars generally agree that cryptocurrency must be analysed using Qiyas because there is no direct textual ruling on digital currencies. In Islamic law, Qiyas allows jurists to extend existing ruling to a new issues based on a shared legal cause known as Ilah. Classical scholars such as Imam Al-Shafi'i and Al-Ghazali emphasize that identifying a valid Ilah is essential for any ruling. This classical methodology forms the foundation for evaluating whether cryptocurrency is permissible or prohibited under Sharia. Let's move on to the next slide about Mahadi approach to cryptocurrency. The literature also highlights differences among the Mahadib in applying Qiyas to cryptocurrency. The Hanafi schools focus on rational suitability while the Maliki schools considers public interest when identifying the Ilah. In contrast, the Shafi'i schools apply stricter textual criteria and the Hanbali schools balance textual evidence with societal welfare. These methodological differences explain why scholars today reach different conclusions regarding the Sharia status of cryptocurrency. This slide is about cryptocurrency as lawful property. Some contemporary scholars argue that cryptocurrency can be classified as lawful property or mal. Al-Kuli states that anything beneficial and possible can be traded, and this view is applied to cryptocurrency due to its practical uses in payments, investments, and transfers. Studies also shows that cryptocurrencies can be lawfully owned and controlled by individuals, which align with Islamic principles of property ownership. However, the literature also identifies key Sharia concerns, particularly issues of riba, gharar, and high price volatility. These factors raise questions about transactional stability and ethical compliance. Scholars suggest that blockchain technology and stablecoins may reduce uncertainty and improve transparency. Despite this, there remains a research gap on whether the current identification of Ilah in cryptocurrency rulings is aligned with classical principles of Qiyas, which this study aimed to examine.
Okay, for this slide, I will discuss the role of Qiyas in Islamic jurisprudence. Qiyas or analogy is a method used to resolve new legal issues that are not directly mentioned in the Quran, Sunnah or Ijma'. It was developed by classical scholars such as Abu Hanifah, Malik and Al-Shafi'i to address new challenges faced by Muslim societies. Through Qiyas, a ruling from an original case is applied to a new case when both share the same effective cause, Ilah. Identifying the correct Ilah is essential to ensure the validity of the ruling. Qiyas must not contradict clear textual evidence and must be applied by a qualified jurist through ijtihad. Overall, Qiyas helps Islamic law remain flexible and relevant while staying true to its core principles. For this slide, I will discuss cryptocurrency as a modern issue using Qiyas. Cryptocurrency is not mentioned in classical Islamic sources, so scholars apply Qiyas to determine its ruling. The main question is whether it shares the same Ilah as money. Some scholars argue that the Ilah of money is samaniyah, meaning its function as a medium of exchange. Since cryptocurrency can be owned, exchanged and used in transactions, it may be considered mal. This view is accepted by institutions like the Sharia Advisory Council of Bank Negara Malaysia and Indonesia's National Sharia Council under certain conditions. However, other scholars oppose this view. They argue that cryptocurrency lacks stability and involves qarar and maisir due to speculation. This example shows that the validity of Qiyas depends on how the Ilah is defined, highlighting modern challenges in Islamic law. This slide highlights how different Islamic schools approach the determination of Ilah in Qiyas. The Hanafi school emphasizes rational appropriateness, called munasabah, and sometimes use istihsan to improve analogical reasoning. They accept rational explanations when textual guidance is unclear. The Maliki school is more flexible, considering public interest or maslahah mustalah, allowing cryptocurrencies if they are beneficial and do not cause harm. The Shafi'i school is strict. The Ilah must be self-evident or clearly stated in the text, so they are cautious with cryptocurrencies due to the lack of textual basis. The Hanbali school allows limited flexibility, balancing textual evidence with general principles and considering public benefit or maslahah in decision making. In modern discussions, some authorities like National Sharia Council of the Indonesian Ulama Council in Indonesia and Sharia Advisory Council Bank Negara Malaysia in Malaysia accept cryptocurrencies under Qiyas, while others such as the International Union of Muslim Scholars and Shawqi Alam reject them because of speculation, volatility and uncertainty. This shows that determining in Ilah is complex and context dependent, and Qiyas requires careful, logical reasoning to address contemporary issues like cryptocurrencies. So, our group agrees that the legitimacy of Qiyas depends on correctly identifying the Ilah. It remains essential for addressing modern challenges in Islamic law such as cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, AI, and biotechnology. Some scholars reject cryptocurrencies due to risk, instability, and qarar, while others accept them as exchangeable assets. We believe Qiyas should be methodological and regulated, incorporating expert input from science, technology, and economics, as well as reasoning based on maqasid. Overall, a balanced approach is preferred, upholding traditional values while remaining practical, and relevant for contemporary issues.
In conclusion, this study shows that Qiyas remain as important tool in Islamic jurisprudence for addressing modern issues not mentioned in classical texts. Its effectiveness depends on the proper identification of the Ilah based on the criteria set by classical jurists and aligned with Maqasid al-Shari'ah. Modern issues such as cryptocurrency, AI, biotechnology create different scholarly views due to different interpretation of the Ilah, reflecting the diversity of madhabib. To remain effective, Qiyas must combine classical principle, contemporary knowledge, and flex values, ensuring Islamic law stays relevant, ethical, and adaptable.